Carlos with ESPN Los Angeles, proud to be joined by Dr. Alan Beyer on the road to recovery. And Doc, we've got some breaking news. The King, LeBron James, just received news that he will be out 3 to 4 weeks with a sciatica injury. This is very unusual, knowing that King James is now going to miss the season opener. But Doc, what is a sciatica?
Well, let's start with some anatomy. The sciatic nerve is the major nerve that innervates all the muscles and all the sensation of the leg. It's made up of several different nerve roots at several different levels coming out of the spine. So it's unusual for a disc herniation to cause sciatica because it's usually only one level that a disc herniates at. So he either has multiple discs that are bulging and degenerative, which kind of goes along with how long he's been playing basketball, or it's compressed or irritated or injured in the area called the sciatic notch, which is in the area of the pelvis that it travels through to get down in its inevitable path down the leg. Um, there's very little specifics out in terms of which of these it is. You don't see them rushing to do, say, an epidural injection like Matt Stafford had a couple of weeks ago. So I'm less inclined to think that this is a problem at the spine level and more inclined to think it's a problem for further distal, further down the road of the nerve, probably where it crosses through the sciatic notch at the pelvis and goes down the leg. Um, 3 to 4 weeks is might be optimistic in somebody LeBron's age and with the amount of mileage he has on his odometer. 40 something doesn't heal the same as a 20 something. We all know that. So we're just going to have to wait and see how he responds to rest and to the physical therapy and other treatments that's going to be prescribed for him. And we'll have a little better handle on that 2 or 3 weeks down the road.
Yeah, it is interesting though that when the Lakers came out to announce the injury, they said that he will be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. So when you mentioned that, hey, 3 to 4 weeks could be optimistic, I think the door is still open for extended time to miss, and that leads into November. But you kind of talk about his age, Doc. He'll be turning 41 in December. This is LeBron, who is entering a record year 23, something that we've never seen before. But LeBron is an athlete that we've never seen before. He's kept his body in shape in a superhuman shape for all 23 years and beyond. When you talk about his age, is that different with the way that he continues to treat his body and even the years of recovery and the amount of recovery that he spends on his body?
So it's an interesting point. He never would have gotten to this point if he hadn't been so good to his body in terms of how he trained and how he prepared and how he took care of things. The last 2 to 3 years, we've started to see a few of these nagging kind of injuries hit LeBron, the groin strains, the calf strains that many
He ended
players have in
last
their
season with
20s
an
and 30s
MCL sprain.
with an MCL sprain. So I like to use the car analogy. If you never change the oil in your car and never grease where it needs to be greased and lubricated and never do the preventative maintenance, your car is not going to last that long. If you treat your car perfectly, you do the oil changes exactly when they need to be done. You rotate the tires, you do the brake pads, everything according to what the manufacturer recommends. At the end of 20 years, your car's still going to break down sometimes. So even though you do everything you can to minimize the risk of a breakdown, this is a breakdown. This is a breakdown in somebody who's kept his car meticulously cared for during the first 21, 22 years of his career. And now we're starting to see some things just plumb wear out and start to bother him that bother most players when they're in their 20s and early 30s.
Doc, I love that you made this car analogy because that takes me to my next point. What if that car is a golf cart? Because what we've seen with LeBron a lot this offseason is him spending time on the golf course and working on his golf swing. Now, Doc, obviously you play a lot of golf. Can something like that aggravate this injury?
Absolutely. Golf is known to be one of the more difficult athletic pursuits on the spine because the spine was not made to rotate the way the golf swing makes you rotate your spine. And it could be definitely tied to the fact that LeBron's been chasing the little white ball a little bit more lately, that his back is starting to give him some issues. I mean, apparently he hasn't participated hardly at all in training camp or not, or obviously
Correct.
in
He,
any
he sat
exhibition
out
games.
throughout training camp.
So this could be related. This could be related to his off-season activities. There's no doubt about that. But, you can't ask a guy to live in a bubble his whole life and not do some things that he wants to do for pleasure. And if this is what LeBron chooses to do after 23 years of devotion to the NBA, so be it. I mean, he'll come back from it. He's not banging 1,000 golf balls a day the way a Tiger Woods used to
Absolutely.
in his, a highlight reel, or the way Scotty Scheffler does now. He's going out and playing some recreational golf. And yes, that could have some impact on his low back. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I can't blame LeBron James for enjoying some time on the greens and taking a few golf swings, especially with everything that he's done on the court. But Doc, let's be honest, have you seen his golf swing?
It's better than Charles Barkley's.
But from your opinions and from your experience, what advice would you have for LeBron and his golf swing?
I took up golf later in life too. I took up golf when I just about turned 40. It's a very, very hard game to take up, having had no exposure to it in youth and developing at least a fundamental swing when you were a kid, and then you can come back to it 30 years later. Um, it's fraught with a lot of mishits and things that happen that can cause injury, especially to an area like the low back. But you know what? The guy's a professional athlete. He'll figure it out.
One more thing before we go, Doc. When you're looking ahead at LeBron and his looming return to the court, what are some of those signs, if you're LeBron James, what are some of those things that you're looking out for to see and to check off the list that you are okay to play and cleared?
He knows how to listen to his body. Last year, I remember you and I having this conversation before the season started about managing his minutes. They didn't do a particularly fabulous job of doing that. This year, I think they're going to need to do a more fabulous job about doing that because he's going to be more prone to these things. And this is the kind of injury that 3, 4 weeks after he's back could flare up again. He's probably not going to go out and play golf during the season because I think he might be tempting the fates if he does that. Even though traveling around the way he travels, he'd sure get to play some of the best golf courses in the United States with their road schedule.
Aren't you
But
jealous?
this is the kind. I'm jealous too, believe me. This is the kind of injury that can become a chronic nagging injury, and it's just a function of like I said, the miles on the odometer.
Yeah, big difference from what the Lakers have this year compared to last year, obviously, is a superstar, another superstar to rely on, like Luka Doncic. Hopefully that clarifies the plan for JJ Redick and the squad going into the season compared to last season. But Doc, thanks again for joining us on such short notice with the breaking news that LeBron James will be sidelined for 3 to 4 weeks with sciatica on his right side. Doc, how's everything going on in the dock and the dugout?
Doctor and Dugout's rolling along. We keep broadcasting even once the baseball season is over in another month. This week, I'm excited about my guest. I have Danny Shays, former Syracuse Orange man and NBA star, followed in his father's footsteps, Dolph
Golf
Shays.
days, yeah.
Um, and he's an interesting character. So it'll be a fun show. It's a good time to have him as the NBA season is getting ready to take off. Next week, next week we have Todd Marinovich, which will be kind of an interesting interview also. Who knows where that one's going to go? So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. So stay tuned. 12 noon every Saturday on AM 830.
Doc tapping into father-son duos. First LeBron and Bronny and Dolph and Don Shays and Todd and Marinovich. So,
Marvin. Yep.
Yeah. Doc, thanks again for joining us on the Road to Recovery, presented by the Hoag Orthopedic Institute.